Moments later, Adora entered the hall, her veil covering her face. Almost immediately, she sensed that something was wrong. The silence was heavy. The stairs were unsettling. She noticed Chi-Ki standing stiffly at the altar, his gaze fixed on one spot. She leaned toward him. "What's happening?" Chi-Ki couldn't answer. The pastor cleared his throat. "Shall we begin the ceremony?" But Chi-Ki wasn't hearing a word. His eyes were locked on the children, on the truth sitting in the front row. Beside Ngozi, a mocker leaned in and whispered, "Do you want us to leave now?" Ngozi shook her head gently. "No. We'll stay till the end." Her voice was steady. Her spirit was calm. She hadn't come to ruin anything. She had come to be seen, to exist openly without shame. In just minutes, the grand hall had shifted. The laughter faded. The music paused. Cameras lowered. Guests sat frozen, unsure whether to turn around or keep staring ahead. Phones hovered midair, mouths hung open. It felt as though the wind itself had changed direction. Ngozi sat exactly where Chi-Ki had imagined, but not as he expected. She wasn't broken. She wasn't hiding. Dressed in radiant yellow, she glowed quietly, like the rising sun. On either side of her sat her sons, 3 little boys with warm brown skin and curious eyes. Their white shirts were neatly tucked into yellow shorts. One clutched a toy car. The other 2 whispered and giggled softly. Disbelief rippled through the crowd. "That's Ngozi," a woman murmured behind her fan. "She has children," the man beside her whispered back. "They even look like." "Let's see how this ends," someone else said. At the altar, the pastor cleared his throat again. "Shall we proceed?" Chi-Ki stood beside Adora, but his mind was far away. Adora leaned in, her voice low but sharp. "Who is that woman with those boys?" Chi-Ki blinked. That's Ngozi." Adora frowned. "Your ex-wife." He nodded slowly. "And those children with her?" she pressed. Chi-Ki said nothing. Adora turned fully toward him. "Chi-Ki, are those her children?" Every eye in the hall shifted to the couple. Even the photographers hesitated, unsure where to aim their lenses. Chi-Ki shifted uncomfortably. His lips parted, but no sound came out. Adora's eyes widened. "You told me she couldn't have children." I thought she couldn't," he stammered. "You thought?" Adora's voice rose. "You told me that was why you left her. I believed you." "That's what the doctors said," he muttered. "What doctors?" she snapped. "You never showed me any results. You never agreed to get tested yourself." Sweat formed on Chi-Ki's forehead under the bright lights. "Adora, please. Let's talk about this after." "No," she cut in firmly. "We'll talk now. Everyone here is watching." She turned to the guests. "Is this a joke to you? You invited your ex-wife to humiliate her, and she walks in with triplets." A loud murmur swept through the hall. Chi-Ki whispered urgently, "Lower your voice." But Adora stepped away from him, pain and confusion written across her face. "You lied to me," she said louder. "You lied to me the same way you lied to her." Kunal hurried forward. "Adora, please. Let's step outside for a moment." "No," she said. "I want answers here." She turned toward Ngozi. "Madam, forgive me for asking, but are those boys your children?" Ngozi rose slowly. She lifted the smallest boy into her arms. "Yes," she said clearly. "They are my sons." The hall fell into silence once more. She looked at Chi-Ki. Her voice was calm, but unshakable. "You called me barren. You threw me out and watched me cry on the floor. You said I was cursed. You made me believe I was less than a woman." Quiet gasps filled the room. "But I was never the problem," she continued. "You refused to be tested. You insisted it was me. But God revealed the truth, and gave me not 1 child, but 3. Chi-Ki stood frozen, unable to speak. Adora turned slowly to face him. So you lied. You destroyed her reputation. You broke her spirit. And all this time, it was you. I didn't know, Cheeky tried weakly. I didn't mean to. You didn't care, Adora interrupted. You just needed someone to blame. She stepped away from the altar. I can't marry you, Cheeky, she said, her voice trembling but firm. Not today. Not ever. The hall erupted in gasps. The pastor stepped back. The choir fell silent. Camera lights dimmed. Cheeky reached for her. Adora, please. Don't do this here. She looked at him one last time. You're not ready for love. You're still trapped in your pride. I deserve better. She dropped her bouquet on the stage and walked out of the hall. Her bridesmaids hurried after her, but Ngozi didn't rush. Cheeky turned abruptly, eyes wide, his chest heaving. The room felt like it was spinning. Guests whispered among themselves, their voices rising with shock. That man is barren, someone murmured. It was his fault all along, and he tried to humiliate her. Imagine that. Cheeky's gaze fell to the floor. His knees wobbled. Ngozi began walking toward the exit, her 3 boys beside her. She didn't look back. She didn't yell. She didn't gloat. She moved with the grace of a queen leaving a courtroom, her dignity and truth draped around her like a royal cloak. A mocker met her at the door. Ngozi, you did it. You showed them the truth. Ngozi shook her head. I didn't do it to prove anything. I came simply to be seen. They stepped into the black Rolls-Royce. The driver closed the door softly, and the car glided away. Inside, Ngozi held her boys close. Mommy, are you okay? One whispered. She smiled warmly. Yes, my loves. I'm more than okay. Back at the venue, Cheeky slumped alone on the edge of the stage. His agbada felt too loose, his crown too heavy. The food remained untouched, the champagne still chilled, but the energy had vanished. Connell approached quietly. Bro, what now? Cheeky didn't answer. He just stared at the exit, the door through which his bride had fled, and through which his lies had crumbled. For the first time, he felt truly, painfully alone. He sat, slumped, staring at nothing. His white agbada, once crisp and perfect, now had creases where he had sunk into the stage. The gold embroidery gleamed faintly under the hall lights, but even that seemed dull. The noise and laughter had evaporated. The waiters moved silently, packing away trays. He couldn't feel his fingers. His ears rang. His head felt heavy. How had it all fallen apart in one day? Connell sat beside him, removed his cap, looking more exhausted than confused. Cheeky. Cheeky didn't respond. You didn't see this coming, did you? Connell continued. Still nothing. She walked in with triplets, bro. Triplets. And the whole world was watching. Cheeky turned his head slowly. I planned that wedding for months. I even invited her, expecting to show her what she had lost. Connell stayed quiet. She came, not crying, not broken, but with 3 sons. Cheeky rubbed his eyes hard. How is that possible? Connell leaned forward. That's what everyone is asking. You said she was barren. You divorced her because of it. And now she has children. Not 1, 3. Cheeky's chest tightened. And while you were married, did you ever get tested? Connell asked quietly. I didn't need to. She was the one who couldn't have children. Connell turned sharply. Says who? You. Your mother. Gossip. You just assumed. She never argued, Cheeky whispered. Because she loved me. She was loyal, Connell said. She believed in you. She didn't fight. She begged you not to leave. She begged me, she cried. She said we could still try. I called her cursed. I told her to leave. Connell was silent for a long moment. Then he said softly, and now the truth is right in front of you. And the whole world is watching. Outside, cameras flashed. Social media exploded. Clips of the wedding went viral in minutes. Ngozi stepping out of the black Rolls-Royce. Adora dropping her bouquet in shock. Hashtag spread like wildfire. Hashtag Ngozi returns. Hashtag triplets at the wedding. Hashtag Chiki exposed. Some posts mocked him. Some were incredulous. Some angry. But one thing was clear. Chiki was trending for all the wrong reasons. Later, back at Ngozi's home, Amoka sat on the couch scrolling through the posts. "Listen to this one," she read aloud. "This woman is a true queen. She didn't shout. She didn't fight. She simply showed up with God's answer." Ngozi smiled softly, feeding her boys. "I didn't do it for applause. I only wanted him to see." "Well," Amoka said, looking up. "Now he has seen. Not just him, everyone has." Ngozi lifted one of the babies onto her lap. "Do you think he feels anything?" "Oh, he feels it," Amoka replied. "Pride cannot shield anyone from disgrace." There was a soft knock at the door. Ngozi looked up, curious. Who could it be? Amoka rose and moved toward the door. "Let me see," she said. Slowly, she opened it, and her eyes widened. Chiki stood there, frozen. Ngozi gently placed the baby into the walker and stood, her posture calm. Chiki entered the room looking nothing like the polished man from the wedding. His shirt hung untucked, his eyes red-rimmed, lips cracked. In his hands, he held his cap like a schoolboy approaching a headmistress to beg for mercy. "Ngozi," he said softly. She remained silent. His gaze swept across the room and landed on the children playing on the floor. One of the boys looked up and smiled. "Hi, uncle." Chiki's chest tightened. "I didn't come here to cause trouble," he said. "I just needed a moment to say something." Amoka folded her arms, her expression calm. "I ruined everything," Chiki admitted, his eyes dropping. "I judged you wrong. I insulted you. My pride blinded me." Silence filled the room. He took a hesitant step closer. "I thought I was right. I told the world you were barren. I didn't even bother to test myself. I just assumed." Ngozi finally spoke, her voice steady. "And that assumption destroyed our marriage." Chiki nodded slowly. "I know. I see it now. I was foolish. My ego controlled me. I didn't protect you. I shamed you." "You didn't just shame me," Ngozi said, her tone firm. "You crushed me. You made me feel worthless." "I'm sorry," he said, tears streaking his face. "I don't deserve forgiveness. But I had to say it. I was wrong. I hurt the only woman who ever truly loved me." Ngozi regarded him silently. "I saw the way you walked into that wedding," she said. "You were confronted with truth. And you stood there quietly, without anger, without words. You let the truth speak for itself." His eyes softened as they fell on the boys. "They are beautiful. You're a remarkable mother." He bowed his head. "I'm sorry." A few seconds of quiet passed. Ngozi stepped forward. "Stand up," she said gently. Chiki lifted his head slowly. "You're not angry." "I was angry for years," she replied. "But now, I'm free." Chiki rose fully. "Thank you for hearing me. You should get tested," she added softly. "Not for me, but for your future." He nodded, shame heavy on his shoulders. "I did, this morning." Ngozi raised an eyebrow. "The doctor confirmed it," he admitted. "It's me. Low sperm count. Possibly from an untreated infection years ago." Ngozi blinked. "So, all those years?" "Yes," he said quietly. "It was me." A long pause followed. Then she said, voice soft but firm, "I don't hate you. I've moved on. God gave me a second chance." Chiki nodded. "I know. And you deserve all the happiness in the world. I'm glad you're happy." As he turned to leave, Ngozi called softly, "Chiki." He stopped and looked back. I forgive you. His shoulders slumped, relief flooding him. Thank you. As he stepped out, Amoka came and stood beside Ngozi. You are stronger than anyone could imagine, she whispered. Ngozi smiled faintly. I'm not strong. I'm just healed. The next morning, Chiki woke to chaos. His company had taken a hit. Investors pulled out. Hundreds of messages flooded his phone. Family, friends, bloggers. But the one that shook him most was from Adora. Don't call me. I've gone back to Lagos. Find peace within yourself. I hope you learn. He leaned back, holding his head. Everything he had built, gone. Yet strangely, he felt lighter. Perhaps this was what it meant to be truly humbled. Meanwhile, at Ngozi's home, serenity flowed like water. Emma returned from his trip and enveloped her in a tight hug. I saw the clips online, he said. You walked in like a lioness. Ngozi laughed softly. It wasn't easy. I'm proud of you, he said, holding her close. But even more, I'm proud you stood up for yourself. She looked down at her boys, now sleeping peacefully on the floor. They don't understand yet. But one day they will. I'll tell them the whole story. Emma smiled. And I'll be right there beside you. They stood together, hands intertwined. No anger, no bitterness. Only a quiet, unshakable peace. A month had passed since the wedding that never happened. Videos from that day still circulated online. Headlines refused to fade. The world had moved on, but Chiki had not. He was no longer the man everyone admired. Boardrooms felt emptier. He no longer walked in with the commanding presence that had once turned heads. His smile no longer came easily. His laughter no longer reached his employees. The office was quieter. Staff had resigned. Partners had withdrawn. Even the few who remained treated him differently, avoiding his gaze, whispering when he passed. But the heaviest loss was within himself. Sleep eluded him. Meals tasted like nothing. Every memory played on repeat. Ngozi's entrance, the triplets, Adora walking out, and now the undeniable truth. The fertility problem had been his all along. He stared at the test results on his desk. Low sperm count. Low motility. Patient advised to begin treatment immediately. The words hit like a hammer. So many years wasted. So many lies told. So many people blamed. So many tears caused. His phone buzzed, a new blog post. Former business tycoon faces downfall after ex-wife's dramatic wedding appearance. He sighed and dropped the phone. Just then, his mother entered. She looked older, frilier, yet still sharp in her eyes. Chiki, she said, taking a seat across from him. I came to speak with you. He nodded slowly. I know what you'll say, Mama. She exhaled deeply. We were both wrong. I pushed you to marry someone else. I told you Ngozi was the problem. But I never once stopped to consider whether we were fair. Mama, you helped me drive her away, Chiki whispered. I know, she said, her voice trembling. And I will never forgive myself for that. A heavy silence hung between them. She wiped her eyes. Have you spoken to her since? I went to see her, he admitted. She forgave me. Even after everything. She always had such a big heart. Chiki nodded slowly. But she's not coming back. She's happy. She has a real family. Mama Ike lowered her gaze. God gave her beauty for ashes. And we destroyed something pure. Chiki didn't respond. He only stared at his empty hands. His crown was gone. Meanwhile, across town, Ngozi moved gracefully in her kitchen, stirring okra soup. The boys were curled up in the living room, watching cartoons, while Emma fixed a leaky tap. Babe, he called, wrench in hand. Do we have enough crayfish? Ngozi smiled. Yes, blue container, second shelf. He laughed. You've organized this kitchen like a chemistry lab. They shared a quiet chuckle, the air around them calm. This home wasn't built with gold, but it overflowed with joy. Later, as they sat to eat, one of the triplets asked, "Mommy, when we grow up, will we be famous like you?" Ngozi laughed. "Who said I'm famous? Everyone is shouting your name on the internet," the second boy added, licking his fingers. Ngozi looked at Emma, smiling. "You'll grow up knowing your story. More importantly, you'll grow up knowing your worth." Emma nodded. "And knowing how strong your mother is." A few days later, Ngozi received a letter at her restaurant. She opened it slowly. Short. Typed. Signed at the bottom. Chiki. "Thank you for your strength. Thank you for your forgiveness. You taught me a lesson I will never forget. I lost a good woman, and I hope one day your sons will know how proud they should be. I wish you peace." Ngozi folded the letter carefully and placed it in her drawer. She didn't feel anger. She didn't feel sadness. Only peace. Back at Chiki's compound, neighbors looked at him differently now. Some pitied him. Some laughed behind his back. The gardener no longer greeted him cheerfully. The security guard no longer rushed to open the gate. The man who once commanded respect now wore the weight of disgrace. One evening, he stood before the mirror, staring at his reflection. "Who are you now?" he whispered. "What did your pride gain you?" No answer came. He looked out the window, then finally admitted aloud, "I destroyed the woman who loved me, and now I am alone." Far away, the woman he had wronged was whole again. She had found joy. She had found love. She had found purpose. And 3 little reminders beside her proved that what others once called barren, God had turned into abundance.